Hello and welcome to this presentation about why every conscious business needs a newsletter. This is such an underrated and overlooked topic. So before we get into this, I'll introduce myself. My name's Stephen Parado. I'm an author, blogger, and content manager. I've been doing this kind of stuff, teaching it and implementing it myself for the last 10 years. So I've seen that so many businesses, especially conscious brands, both big and small, even conscious solopreneurs starting out, they really overlook and underrate the importance of a newsletter. So let's get into why every conscious business needs a newsletter. The most overlooked and underrated aspect of any online business's presence is a newsletter. And this is especially true for conscious brands. Why conscious brands? Because you want to build relationships with people. You want to be authentic with people. You don't just want to blast out sales pitches and promotion. So a newsletter helps you do that. It helps you bring that relationship together, create trust, and truly serve your audience. So that's the importance of it, and just one factor of the importance. So an email newsletter is this important solution. It is such a crucial resource and asset for any brand, for your online presence. So set your judgments aside for a second. You might be like, oh, email is so 1990s, or it's not as cool as Instagram or TikTok or the latest social media. Or you might be like, all I get in my inbox is like marketers promoting their stuff. So just set that aside for a second, because by the time I'm done with this presentation, you'll probably have a paradigm shift and a new outlook on email and especially newsletters via email. So a newsletter is the best way to, one, grow your business, and we'll get into this. Two, stay value driven. Like I said, especially if you're a conscious business, you want to stay value driven. You want to truly serve people, not just take, or manipulate people into buying stuff. And you want to genuinely serve people. That relates to that building relationships and being value driven. And what are email newsletters? A simple definition for this is value driven emails sent on a regular basis. So some keywords: value driven, like I've said. You want to provide value up front, build the relationship. And then regular basis. So it's consistency that makes this work. When you do things consistently, when people look forward to your newsletter every week or however often you send it, that consistency is what creates and deepens a relationship because people get used to that tempo. So some advantages of newsletters. One, it's a regular touch point. When you have that consistency, you have a regular touch point with your audience, your customers, your potential customers. And that becomes a foundation to build great relationships with. Also, you provide value upfront. A newsletter is value driven. You're helping people, providing value, helping them achieve their goals or resolve their problems. You're genuinely providing value upfront. And you do this by giving your audience content they want. What are they looking for? What problems do they have? What dreams do they have? What do they want to read about? And you also build trust and create a warm, engaged audience by doing this. I can't even emphasize this enough. When you do this, when you have a newsletter that's value driven and you send it consistently and you provide that value, you build incredible trust. And you create a warm, engaged audience. This often becomes your warmest audience really anywhere, much warmer than any social media following or things like that. And you get people looking forward to your newsletter every week or however often you send it. If it's value driven and people like it, they're going to look forward to it. And if you forget one week or you mess up that way, then people are going to be like, what happened to it? Where are you? I was looking forward to the newsletter. So that's why consistency is so important. And This also differentiates you from the old paradigm of exploitative businesses. So you don't just want to email people or even post on social media when you want someone to buy something for you. That's not how healthy relationships work. You want to provide value up front and differentiate yourself from any exploitative business by being value driven, by actually caring about people and building the relationships. So why email newsletters are better than social media? One big reason is that you own it. You own your email list. Of course, you could use different services to send the emails, but you own that list. You could take that list and bring it anywhere else. No one else has the power to shut it down like a social media account. Let's say you have 1 million followers on Instagram. Instagram could shut down your account overnight. Then you can't reach any of those people. So that simply doesn't happen with email. With email, you own it. And that's why it's an asset and an incredible resource. And if you notice, every smart marketer, every smart brand, they use social media to actually build their email list because they know that an email list is the true asset. And any social media account can get shut down overnight at the whim of these platforms. So if you want to be in business long term and you want to grow your business long term, have a newsletter, have an email list that you own and that you have a relationship with the people. Because if you just have a random email list of people you've never emailed before, there's no real value in that because the value's in the relationship as well. So that's why newsletters are so key. Email is also a level playing field. So what this means is that you send an email and everyone receives it at the top of their inbox. It's much more of a level playing field than something like social media. You're just as likely to be at the top of someone's inbox as the biggest brands in the world. So think about it that way. It's like a very one-to-one relationship where if you send an email, it's at the top of someone's inbox when it's sent that way. And social media, it's very much more algorithmically driven, and there's all these other factors that make it less of a level playing field. And an email list is the most important online asset you can have. It's the best home base for all of your important announcements. That's what it should be. It should be the hub for all of your important announcements and all of your important information. That's why a newsletter is so important. That word important keeps coming up. Because let's say I've seen businesses do their announcements on Facebook or something like that. Barely anyone sees it, and you have to be on Facebook to see it. And then you have to make it so that people actually see the post, because on platforms like Facebook, barely anyone even who follows you sees the post. So that's just not an effective way to communicate. This is why having an email list and having a newsletter is so crucial, because it becomes that hub, that home base where everyone knows this is where their important information comes from, this central location. So that expression, all roads lead to Rome, all roads lead to your email list, your newsletter. You should point everything there and have that as the hub for your communications. And since you own it and it's a true asset that can't be taken from you, this is something that's crucial for a long-term business. All right, some stats via this company called Litmus. So here they are. Here's just 2 of them. And there's a lot more, but these are 2 that really help solidify this importance. So 78% of marketers in 2020 said that email is important to overall company success. So over 3/4, almost forgot math there, of marketers said that email is crucial to company success, obviously, with what you just heard. And 4 out of 5 marketers said they'd rather give up social media than email marketing. Of course, because in an email list, a newsletter is a true asset. It's a true resource that you own that can't be taken from you. All right, so if you want to serve your audience and grow long term, having an email newsletter is the way. Like I said, you own it. You have relationships with these people. It's a central hub of communication and the best central hub of communication online. So if you want something long-term that grows, you need an email newsletter. So the work required, let's talk a bit about that. What kind of work is needed? Do you need to have employees or, spend a ridiculous amount of hours on this? No, you don't. It can actually be done in an hour of work per week or less. Maybe in the beginning, or if you don't really know what you're doing, maybe a little more. But the work required isn't that much. Once you know what you're doing and you get a handle of it, you can do it in less than an hour per week. So think about the leverage and the effects of that. With one focused hour per week, you can build the most important asset for your business. That's why this is a no-brainer to do. With the work required and the benefit involved, everyone needs to do this, especially conscious brands, because the value you can create is mind-blowing. You can create people who absolutely love your brand. No matter who you are, what you do, if you're an author, a coach, you have an e-commerce brand, you have a restaurant, whatever it is, the value you can create for people is mind-blowing, and you'll really see a tribe develop just around your email newsletter. So with email, don't be like these two extremes. So extreme number one, it's the archetype of the aggressive seller. Someone who's just promoting. You might have seen these in your inbox. It's like, the salesy marketer who's telling you to buy something every other day, and it's just annoying and you don't want to hear that and you want to unsubscribe from it. So don't be that aggressive seller. And the other one is the fair weather friend. And actually, I've noticed a lot of conscious brands, they'll fall into this because they're not consistent with emailing and they don't have a newsletter that's consistent. So then they'll just be like, oh yeah, I have people on this email list and I have something to promote, so I'll just send them an email. And that's a fair weather friend. You're only talking to people when you're asking something from them. And that's just not cool. That's not how healthy relationships are built. So don't be the aggressive seller and don't be the fair weather friend. And how to avoid these extremes and come to a higher balance is by having a newsletter. Simple as that. And newsletters are all about relationships. So what are relationships built off of? Trust. They're built off of value, consistency, and a fair energy exchange. Think about it. Any relationship, think of a marriage. A marriage doesn't start overnight. You don't walk up to someone on the street and propose to them. Most people would say no. But if you build trust and provide value to that person and you have a fair dynamic energy exchange going on, through consistency, eventually it could lead to a marriage. So any relationship with your customers, friends even, it's the same way. You build that trust, you build that value, you do things consistently, you show up in each other's lives, and there's a fair energy exchange going on. That's how a healthy relationship is built. All forms of healthy relationships. So let's talk about the structure of newsletters. What kind of structure works? What's the best? What do you do in terms of the structure of a newsletter? So ultimately, the best structure is what best serves your audience. That's what it comes down to. There's no one rigid structure that you need to follow that works best. Think about what truly and best serves your audience, because that's really who it's for. You want to serve them. So when it comes down to it, think about what would best serve my audience. What structure of a newsletter? What can I include and how can I include it to best serve my audience? Some common elements of good newsletters. This will help keep it a little more focused, because I don't just want to give you advice like, yeah, whatever works and serves your audience. Let's get a little more concrete with examples and bring it in a more focused way with these common elements of good newsletters. So one, it's content driven. Again, you're not just selling. You're providing value up front through good content. You're helping them resolve their problems, achieve their goals, giving them things that they find helpful and useful. And helpful is the next point here. You want it to be helpful for them. When someone opens your newsletter, Actually, even before that, when someone sees your newsletter in their inbox, you want them to be like, yes, like it came today. I'm reading this. I know it's going to be helpful. You want to create that effect. Also, it should be concise. It doesn't have to be a long essay. It doesn't have to be drawn out. Usually the best email newsletters are read in under 5 minutes, so you can keep it concise. It doesn't have to be this big thing. That's why you can do it in an hour or less per week if you know what you're doing. And also, it's not salesy, but you can include links to offers. So it's mostly content driven, but you can always have a call to action or, hey, check out my offering or whatever it is at the bottom or wherever it's relevant in the email. So it's content driven, but you can also promote where it's relevant. So that works too. So some examples of good newsletters. Let's get into some examples to help you get clearer ideas of this. So one great example is 321 Thursday by James Clear. So his structure of this is 3 thoughts from him, 2 original quotes, and then 1 question. And he sends this every week. It's a really easy structure. It provides value in a very simple way. It takes like 2 minutes to read. So it's a really great newsletter in that way. And he came up with a cool structure with that 3-2-1 format. And yeah, and it's really helped build his brand and trust with his audience. Another example is 5 Bullet Friday by Tim Ferriss. This is probably the biggest or one of the biggest newsletters on the internet. And all it is 5 things that Tim found useful throughout the week. So it's almost like you're getting an email from your smart friend who's always doing like lifestyle experiments. Like, here's 5 things that worked for me, friend. Check them out. That's really how it comes across. And it's awesome. People love it. So he'll like give a cool quote or a cool product that he found. And sometimes he'll promote things and it's fine because it works with the structure. Like, hey, I found this awesome book. Hey, I found this awesome product that you would like. So it really comes across as like your cool friend who's sending you cool stuff that's going to help your life. Another example is Fab Fridays by Ana Lorena Fabrega. So this is more of like a blog post style newsletter. And she talks a lot about like education in terms of children and innovation in those spaces. So it's more of, like I said, the blog post format, but it's still pretty concise and it's super value driven, like really great content in here. And another example is my newsletter that I call Heart-Centered Wisdom. So I send like a little poetic message and then some commentary on the message every day. And I tune into what the collective needs. I basically say, hey, what's the most loving thing, the most loving message I can send to humanity, send to my email list today? And I write that down. It comes out in this like poetic download, write that down, and then I unpack it with some commentary each and every day. And people love it. Like, here's a response, because it really hits different than just like posts on social media, because it's in their inbox, it's exclusive content, and really people love it, especially when you do it consistently because people look forward to it. So I'll just read this. Hello, Stephen. As always, you have hit the spot perfectly. I feel very deeply that your messages are in my life for a reason and come as divine guidance, delivering exactly what I need to hear at the exact time I need to hear it. I don't write back very often, but please know that each and every email is read and reread with full focus and great appreciation. I will be forever grateful to you for sharing. Today's message is a direct gift to my daughter, and I've sent it to her. Thank you so much. Love and blessings, Heather. So that is why I do what I do. Because when you receive messages and appreciation like that, it just really warms your heart and it inspires you to keep doing this kind of stuff. Like, that's why I do what I do. And it's just amazing when you get that kind of feedback, when something you're writing and working on consistently as a newsletter has that kind of effect on people. So you can have that kind of effect with just regular newsletters. And it could be for any niche, for any brand, for anything. When you write a consistent newsletter from the heart, you're going to have this kind of effect on people. And it's such a beautiful thing. All right, some ideas for inspiration. Let's get into some more ideas of how different kinds of brands and businesses can implement newsletters. So let's say you're a local health-conscious restaurant. What could the newsletter consist of? Maybe it's like a quote about health, a health tip, and then you have your weekly specials, and then you have a coupon for subscribers to incentivize them to come into your restaurant. So a really simple format like that. It could be read in 2 minutes. It doesn't take that long to create. You find a great quote about health, you write up a little health tip, you have a list of your weekly specials, and then you have a coupon for people for them to come into your restaurant. So you're providing value, you're building that relationship, and you're getting people into your restaurant. And then people will read it every week and have that touch point, and it'll even will remind them like, oh yeah, that restaurant, I love that place. Oh, they have that as a special, I'm definitely going in. So you have that continuous reminder as well. And you're building the relationship with them via a newsletter. So if a restaurant did this, you got such an advantage over any other restaurant, and you have that differentiating factor, and you're building relationships too. So another example, an energy healer. So what I would do if I was an energy healer building a newsletter, I would do like a weekly energy update, reading the collective energy, and giving something that really is based on the collective energy and what the collective needs. And then maybe a tip for people to stay high vibe, like, a tip to raise your vibration, something like that. And then an invitation to book a session with me at the end. I would do like that kind of structure. Energy update, here's a tip to raise your vibration, and then want to book a session with me, maybe describe what your sessions are, here's where to book it. And that would be a simple, effective newsletter for an energy healer. Let's say you're a conscious dog trainer. Here's another example. You can have like a link to a cute or inspirational dog video, a conscious dog training tip, and then an invitation to work with me if I was a conscious dog trainer, or buy a dog training like information product that I have. Maybe I have a course on conscious dog training, something like that at the end. Or another idea for this, you could do like a roundup of the cutest puppy videos on the internet, 5 cutest puppy videos on the internet, and then at the end have an invitation to work with you or buy your course or something like that. So those are some ideas regarding newsletters. And now let's get into the 5 steps to start a newsletter. What are these steps? What exactly do you need to do to start a newsletter? It's actually pretty simple. It requires some work and strategy and all that, but it could be fairly simple. So step 1 would be choose your structure and the name of your newsletter. So what do you want to deliver in your newsletter, and what's the name of it going to be? And from there, step number 2 would be choose your tempo. How often do you want to send it? What's your schedule? Is it going to be weekly, maybe even daily, maybe bi-weekly? Something like that. Choose your tempo, choose your schedule to create that consistent tempo going on. And then step number 3 would be to sign up for an email service provider, because you need one of these in order to send emails to a lot of people at once. You can't do this through your Gmail account or something like that. So in terms of email service providers, what I recommend is Aweber. I've used them for the last 10 or 11 years, never had a problem with them, and I love them. That's why I've been with them for 10, 11 years, something like that, since like 2012. So I'll link to Aweber in the description if that resonates with you. That's what I recommend, and I love them. So you need an email service provider. Step 4, you need to create a landing page in order to collect the emails. So a place where people can enter their email address and get on your list. The good thing is any service providers, like Aweber here and a lot of website builders, you can make this really easily. They all have great help sections. Like I know Aweber's resource section, they have like the click by click and even video demos, like here's how to create this, here's where to click. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. If you just look for how to do it, maybe you're not tech savvy or anything like that, just look at, let's say you're using Aweber, look at their documentation and they'll show you exactly how to create this click for click. And then step 5, start sending emails. All right, just start and then be consistent with it. Make that commitment. And if you're consistent, your newsletter will probably be the primary driver for your sales. That's amazing. It will be the primary driver for your sales and your business growth, and it will be where your best customers are, your warmest audience is, where your tribe is. That's what happens when you're consistent with a newsletter. So I'm hosting a live workshop on this, newsletters for conscious brands, where I'm going to go even deeper into this topic. So here's what I'm going to go into. More examples. I'm going to do a full-on demo. I'm going to open up my inbox and show you some newsletters that I love, what they're doing right, maybe what they can improve on, what I like about them, how you can implement some of what they're doing. I'm also going to go deeper in how to implement the 5 steps. So more details, more practical information on implementing those 5 steps to get your newsletter started and grow it. And then tips for writing successful newsletters, like how do I write something that's engaging? How do I get people to open it? How do I get people to really find it valuable and read it and get that kind of feedback that like you change their life? And then also I'm going to have a Q&A there to help you create the best newsletter for your brand. So I want people to come on with any questions they have. Maybe they have an idea that they want to bounce off of me. Maybe they don't know what to do for their particular brand or what would be the best approach. We're going to have a Q&A where I answer everyone's questions related to newsletters for conscious brands. And I'm also going to give everyone that attends the workshop a bonus. So I'm going to give them a checklist to have everything they need to start a newsletter just in one place and on one page to help you implement it and get your newsletter started and have success with it. So the details and where you can sign up for the live workshop will be in the description of this video. And that's it for this presentation. I hope you found value in it. Newsletters are the most underrated and overlooked aspect of any online business. And especially if you're a conscious brand, you really want to have one to build relationships, to provide value up front, and to have your tribe. So again, if you want to sign up for the live workshop and go deeper with this, the link is in the description. If you're watching this after the live workshop, I'll probably have a replay in the description as well. So that's it. Send you all lots of love and have a good one.